Professor Black Ops, you said let's get it. Signal app, end-to-end encryption. Is Signal secure? The government is spying on Signal. So let's go through this quick slideshow and chop it up. So state of the art end-to-end encryption powered by open source Signal protocol. That's something super I really appreciate about Signal. The code is open source. I was going through some of the C coding, looking at some of the pre-shared and the encryption in it. So that means some of the best security professionals around the world are looking at it, going through its code, seeing if there's any weaknesses. And the other part of that is, don't be mistaken, the government's kind of figuring out what's going on with Signal, and I'm sure they got a couple hooks they can figure out how to get into it if they need to get into it. But we break that down further in the slideshow. Other thing too, I always check. I like how my encryption comes. We used to have a headquarters in the United States. That doesn't mean it's not being controlled or being owned by a foreign entity, but at least I know the headquarters are in California. Usually, 9 times out of 10, your servers is wherever your headquarters at. Right, so that's also a good take. When you look at some of the top professionals and users in the world. Snowden, I don't know if they paid him to say it, uses Signal. John Dorsey, Twitter, Square. He says he's trust Signal because it was well built, but more importantly because of how it is built, open source, peer review, and funded entirely by grants and donation. A refreshing model for how a critical service should be built. And I think I'm leaning toward what Dorsey said on that. Right, and Loris Portis, Oscar-winning filmmaker and journalist. I guess she needs her, her films and stuff protected. She don't want her IP stolen. And Bruce Snyder is one of the top international cybersecurity teachers on the planet. And he said he regularly is impressed with the thought and care put into both the security and the usability of this app. And two is it has a lot of APIs. You can use it with a Java app. So I might check and see how easy it is to hook using Java. So there's no ads, no trackers that anybody saw. Like I said, it was peer reviewed with a lot of people. So there are no ads, no affiliate marketing, no creepy tracking and signal. So focus on sharing the moments that matter with the people who matter to you. All right. So like I said, a lot of top security firms reviewed it and they said they didn't see any tracking devices or things like that. Signal specifications, encryption in the messaging environment integrates many ideas, which often needs to be composed separately in different applications. We make an effort to break out ideas into independent specifications so that they can be integrated as appropriate for different projects, right? So they got the XDDSA document describes how to verify that. X3DH is extended triple deathy helmet. Double ratchet document describes how to double ratchet algorithm, and Sesame how to do multi-device keys. Once again, we're gonna dig a little more detail in there. Once again, Signal's looking good. I'm actually rating it pretty high, to be honest. That's a look. Like GitHub, you can go in there. Signal for Android, Signal for desktop, Signal for iOS. They have many different Signal branches for different type of encryption. It's all open source, all GitHub. Like I said, I looked at some of the code from the C plus. I'm sorry, C encryption model. It's always good, like I said, if you can look at it. Right? That's what it looked like. Signal profiles and message requests. So on the phone, it looks easy to use. You put your profiles when they call you or text you. It comes up on their profile. You can hit your name, and once again, it starts the encryption process to do that double ratchet encryption. So that seems to be not super friendly, but not super hard either. Right? So somewhere in the middle. Well, I take that back much more further on the easier side. This is a picture of the high level. Once again, we're going to drill down. if you blow it up on your computer or if you lose using it on your mobile. At the top, just to share a start, like you said, when you saw those two profiles connecting, secret A, secret B is your message or your pictures, right? Then you exchange in the middle is you exchanging keys, so that can be encryption. That's why they crisscrossing each other. Then secret B, secret A gets encrypted, right? Secret B, and at the bottom is when your phone actually shares your encryption, right? Let's talk about the top algorithm they're using. Summarize one of these ideas is the double ratchet algorithm. It incorporates key DF change, symmetric key ratchet, and Diffie-Hellman ratchet. You put those together, you get the double ratchet algorithm. It's used by two parties to exchange encrypted messages based on shared secret keys. The party derives new keys for every double ratchet message, so the early keys cannot be calculated from the later ones. The X3DH establishes a shared key between both parties who mutually authenticate each other based on the public key. The Sesame is the algorithm managing message encryption, sessions in an asynchronous and multi-device setting. Right, so those are the tools they use, and it puts it together and actually encrypts your message. Like you said, pre-shared key is you give me your public key, I get your public key, and we encrypt it, then we pass the message to each other. And only your private key can decrypt your public key. Right, so I don't want to get too into the weeds with that. So, and well, I guess I'm here to get the breeze. So at the top, Diffie-Hellman ratchets are used to create secret keys for every message to allow for encryption and decryption. The key pairs are randomly generated in turn by each participant, increase stability and durability after the compromise of the key. So that's it at the top. So Bob gives his public key to Alice. Alice takes the Diffie-Hellman and output it. She uses her private key and gives her public key over to Bob so he can send more messages back. Then at the back, Bob takes his private key and decrypts Alice's message from his public key. So that's it from this top. If you do it Security Plus or any security at any level, asymmetric public and private key is definitely the way. Right. So as also part of that, more in detail is the root key versus their public key. Right. Well, even though each person in transmitting shared keys using Diffie-Hellman ratchet, an extra step is taken now using the Diffie-Hellman output. The Diffie-Hellman output is using the KDF, which is the Key Distribution Foundation, is input to a root chain, and the sending and receiving chains then are derived from the root key using KDF chains to improves the resilience and break-in recovery. Right, so they're adding extra steps, right, to make it harder to break in. So it's using your public key, private key, and adding the root key. So, right, so to break all that now, you got to have two keys in part of the mix instead of one, right? So that's part of the getting ready for the double ratchet explanation. So that's the picture. Like I said, I'm not gonna get too detailed, but just shows you the ratchet, the root, right, the sending key, and how all that makes together. The protocol combines the double ratchet algorithm, pre-keys, and a triple elected curved Diffie-Hellman 3.H handshakes, and using the curve type 25559 with the AES 256 and HMAC 2H50C primitive. So, long story short, it puts all that together and makes the double ratchet um, algorithm to hopefully make all the messages in Signal super hard to break. All right, and I think I might later on, and I actually did. If you go into my introduction to cybersecurity, there's actually an advanced encryption talk I did, and it gets a little more in depth into encryption. So, like I said, I don't want to get too crazy with all these encryption formulas. Right? Just know you're super secretly safe. Okay, now let's talk about even though you're doing all that with your phone, you want to make sure your phone's secure. Even if I remote it to your phone, right, I can steal those keys out and decrypt those messages. So you got to harden the phone so I can't get the keys. And if I get the keys right, I can neutralize all that double ratchet Diffie-Hellman AES 255, right? soup of attack. So let's go through a couple. Locking down a phone, which I thought was interesting, which made sense, from a security perspective, because if you can get the keys right, you can neutralize all that. So some of the top things: the remote access and network eavesdropping. Confirm your connection securities with a safety number. Most message apps will not allow you to ensure the safety of connection with your conversation partner, but Signal allows you to verify your session is encrypted to the right person and not eavesdropping to a third party. Right? So I thought that was a nice security check. Use secondary Signal numbers. Signal treats your phone number like a username, but what if you don't want to share your phone number? Journalists also want to use Signal to chat with sources, but may not want to use a person, the phone number. As long as no one has registered for you, you can register Signal with any phone number and have access to it. So you can create a phone number, create like a name to it so they won't ever get your phone number. So I thought that was, once again, a great technique. Registration lock, whether it's your regular phone number or secondary number, you need to maintain access to this number. Why? If you lose access to the number, someone else register it, now they own that Signal number. You can lock in the registration for your Signal number. All right, enter your preferred PIN. The PIN will prevent the number from being registered from a different device. Once again, increased checks on the phone. Disable link preview. Signal offers the ability to retrieve preview of web pages linked with the conversation. When this feature enables, Signal makes direct requests to websites to generate their previews. Right, you want to block that. You could be going to a malicious site. Somebody could be forwarding that to you without even your knowledge. So you can actually block those preview sites, and that's what you would want to do to lock down Signal. Uh, don't link keyboard data. Many phones come with multiple keyboards for different languages and functions. This allows you to download customized keyboard. This is usefulness, but it's important to know that keyboards can share data with third parties. For example, many Android devices and Google Keyboard is enabled by default. And unless you customize your keyboard set, you may unknowingly be saving keyboard data beyond Signal. Right? So once again, something you can lock down. And two is I need to check my phone to make sure I'm not sharing default keyboards on my Android device, right? So turn on disk encryption. If your phone is ever lost, stolen, or seized, it's possible to copy and read data on the device, including your encrypted message. The good news is you can easily protect your device with disk encryption. So that's pretty standard on any device. And the good thing and bad thing out is CVEs is critical vulnerability exposure, meaning somebody found a bug in Signal and actually reported the Signal and the Signal fixed it, right? So that lets you know is people are trying to crack it, people are hacking it. But the cool thing is, since it's open source, more companies and even students are going there and look at it and keep it locked down. But this just shows you that people cracked it, and the good part is people crack it and they close those vulnerabilities, right? Wrong think peer-to-peer encryption with Peer.js and Axel Ratchet. In round thinking version from 2.0 and before 2.3, there was a set of vulnerabilities caused an inadequate encryption string. Part of the secret identity key was disclosed by the fingerprint used for the connection. Additionally, the safety number was improperly calculated. So you can read the rest of it. CVE-2021, meaning it was this year, number 21387. Right, so I do a security analyst. So one of the things I do when I review is I'm gonna look up CVEs, right? Because the cool thing, especially when it's open source, is you got hundreds of thousands of people looking at this code, testing the code. Some of it's good. Some of the black hat hackers are trying to do it. The white hat hackers are, trying to do it for the good. And the gray hat hackers, 9 times out of 10, they're trying to get a paycheck. They're gonna turn a vulnerability, try to get paid. The one of negatives, not a big negative though, is this is a grant funded company. So a lot of times they don't have a lot of the big bounties to pay like Microsoft, Oracle, and the big companies to pay for it though. But I just want to give a shout out TGIF, happy Friday. Uh, one of my subscribers, shout out to him. He wanted me to do Signal, WhatsApp, and the other one. It's too early in the morning. I'll figure out. So I'm gonna do a review on all those secure message apps. Put in the comments if you want me to do a different level of check, or if you got a specific question about the checks I just went through. Happy Friday. Is Signal secure? I think it's very secure. It's one of the top secure. Like I said, I love open source because, as you see with the CVE, a lot of big companies are reviewing and checking out how secure it is. Professor Black Ops, please subscribe.